Hi everybody, fast version of the live show from Thanksgiving Day, and you can see the art that we've been making live each week on Art Joy Sharing. That's my sister channel. Check it out or catch the fast version on my channel here. Thanks. So today it was all about the mood board. The mood board is offered each month on Art Joy Sharing, and this is the November mood board, and you can see the colors. And so what I did is I started picking papers. I was using some tissue papers and different things. I also had a couple of clay boards that I had begun last week on Art Joy Sharing that I didn't get finished. I did the bird and a couple of the birds last week and didn't get to everything because things take a while to dry. So I'm just embossing on this tissue paper. Not sure what I'll end up using in the show, but um, just showing you how you can create components for your projects. I love to work on tissue paper or lightweight papers that can be collaged and made into something else. So these are some Marabou spray acrylic inks, and my goal this year is to use up a lot of the things that I have sitting around that I don't get to very often. So this is quite wet. I've got to set it aside to dry. And I'll just move on and continue to create. This is some very old embossing powder that I didn't really like the way it was turning out, so I decided to add some inks and things to change the color and make it more usable for me because, it wasn't talking to me. So I've got some pearlized alcohol ink and some other blue, and I'm just going to take a silicone spatula and stir that around in the embossing powder and let it become one with the powders. These are just plastics, and so I'm colorizing the plastic to turn it into another color. And I'll end up using that on a clay board that I did for today. I've got some other paper here with some paint on it, and I am just using a rubber stamp and some Versamark ink. I'm going to stamp that onto that paper, and then I'm going to put some of that embossing powder on it. I want to, create another background. It doesn't turn out quite as dark as I would like. So that means you just add another layer of something, right? So I'm going to continue to play with collage papers, making things to be used on the live show. There you can see it's still too faint. I'm not happy with the coloration. It needs to be darker, so I will deepen it with some ink, just going on top of the embossing. These are archival inks, which means they're going to stick to the embossing and the paper and everything here. So I'm going to tear that piece off and get it ready for collage. Not sure what all I'm going to use in the finished projects this week, but I've got some pieces ready to go. And then I've got some tissue that just has some black and white on it. I want to add some color to the background. And I just continue to work on these tissue papers and things that I'm thinking might become part of what I do in the live show. So these are alcohol inks on these tissue papers, just mop up things, and I'm going to pull out some of the Seth Apter um, embossing powders here from Emerald Creek. And I have a dauber that has some uh, embossing ink in it. This is a distress embosser. Doesn't really want to flow very well. So I might have to work on that a little bit. There's supposed to be a little valve in there that releases, but yeah, it wasn't working the way I wanted it to. So, but I like the rust color on top of the turquoise. So this is a beautiful embossing powder from Seth. It's called Tau Sunset, one of my favorites. And just embossing that piece to be used later. And I have another piece with another stencil, and I'm going to continue the process. Okay, so those are some tissues that already have some stenciled pieces on them, and I'm just adding some alcohol and alcohol ink to the background. Continuing my play, these are just tissue papers that have imagery on it or stencil on it, because these are all collage components. And, I love my collage components. I have drawers full of collage components. And if you're going to sit down and make something, what I do is I go and shop my drawers and pick out the colors and papers and textures and patterns that I want to use. And then I will start my project. Doesn't mean I can't get up and go find something else to add to it, but I like to have a good pile of stuff to get me going. So you can see that's kind of where I am with this, just getting my prep work done so that I can sit down and create collage. Okay, blooper coming. I forgot to turn on the camera. Go over and watch Art Joy is Sharing. It's got all the details. I forgot to turn on the secondary camera, so if you want to see the whole show, go over and watch the live video on Art Joy is Sharing. This is one piece. This has got a little stenciled Christmas tree with the deer and snowflakes, and I used my 2020 stencil in the background, which is this one. So that's one piece that I did. Another one is this one, which features some collage in the background and die cut that was embossed with embossing powder. And then the last one for today was this Merry Christmas greeting card. So it's got a little gold bling on there. And I'll see you again soon, guys.